this video we are going to discuss about kidney. As we know that kidneys are a pair of excretory organs situated on the posterior abdominal wall, one on each side of the vertebral column behind the peritoneum. They remove waste products of metabolism and excess water and salts from blood and maintain the pH of the body. Now coming to the location of the kidney. The kidneys occupy the epigastric, the hypochondriac, the lumbar and the umbilical regions, 4 regions: epigastric, hypochondrial, lumbar and the umbilical regions. Vertically, they extend from the upper border of the 12th thoracic vertebrae to the center of the body of the 3rd lumbar vertebrae. That means from T12 to L3 vertebrae. Now, the right kidney, right one, this is the left kidney. The right kidney is slightly lower than the left due to the presence of the liver. Now coming to the shape, size, weight and orientation. The kidney is around 12 centimeters long, 6 centimeter broad and about 3 centimeters wide. On an average, a male kidney weighs around 150 grams, whereas a female kidney weighs around 135 grams. The long axis of the kidney is directed downwards and slightly laterally, so that the upper pole is nearer to the median plane and the lower pole is away from it. Now, coming to the external features of the kidney. The kidney basically has 2 poles, the upper pole and the lower pole. The upper pole is broad and is in close contact with the suprarenal gland. Here lies the suprarenal gland. And the lower pole is pointed. The lower pole is pointed as compared to the upper pole. Now coming to the surfaces. The kidney basically has 2 surfaces, the anterior surface and the posterior surface. So the anterior surface is convex and irregular, whereas the posterior surface is flattened and smooth. However, this feature is not very prominent and hence we do not use this generally for the site determination of kidneys. Now coming to the borders. It has 2 borders, the lateral border and the medial border. So the lateral border, as we can see, is convex, whereas the medial border is concave, and the medial border contains the hilum from which the structures enter and exit from the kidney. Now, as we can see, this is the hilum. So in the hilum, if we see the order of the structures which are present, so most anteriorly present is the vein. This one, as you can see, is the renal vein. Then behind the renal vein is the renal artery, and most posteriorly is the presence of the renal pelvis. So the structures, again, if we see from anterior to posterior, they are the renal vein, the renal artery and the renal pelvis. So this feature is used for the site determination of the kidney. Also, if we see, the renal pelvis will be found pointing in the downward direction. So you see, by seeing the direction of the renal pelvis, in which direction it is pointing, we can decide which is the upper pole and which is the lower pole. So this feature, the presence of structures in hilum and the pointing of the renal pelvis, are used for the determination of the side of the kidney. So this is basically the kidney of the left side. Now, coming to the relations of the kidney. So relations of the kidney are different on both the sides for left and right kidney. So first, coming to the anterior surface. This, as we can see, is the left kidney. So in the left kidney, superiorly we are going to have the suprarenal gland. Then here we are going to have the impression of the stomach, which is known as the gastric area. Then here we are going to have the impression of the spleen, which is known as the splenic area. In the middle, we are going to have the impression of the pancreas, known as the pancreatic area. Then down here, we are going to have the impression of the jejunum, called the jejunal area. And here we are going to have the impression of the colon, called the colic area. So as we can see, there are 6 impressions: suprarenal gland, gastric area, splenic area, pancreatic area, jejunal area and the colic area. Now here we are not having the right kidney, but if we will see the impressions of the right kidney, the corresponding impressions will be suprarenal gland. Then we are going to have the hepatic area, which is the impression for the liver. Then we are going to have the impression of the colon, which is the colic area. And finally, towards the lower pole, we are going to have the impression of the jejunum, called the jejunal area. Now coming to the relations of the posterior surface, that is also quite different in the left and right kidney. The left kidney, as we know, lies a little higher. So now we are going to discuss the relations of the posterior surface of the kidney. So that is also quite different for the left and the right kidney. As we know, the left kidney lies a little higher than the right kidney. So the left kidney towards its upper part will have the impression of both the 11th and the 12th rib. Whereas in case of right kidney, it will have only the impression of the 12th rib. So this was the difference. Rest all the relations which we are going to see are same for both left and right kidney. So as we can see in the upper part, the kidney is related to the diaphragm and the ribs, which we have already discussed. So here, till here it will be related to the diaphragm. Now, just below the diaphragm, here it will be related to the medial arcuate ligament, and here it will be related to the lateral arcuate ligament. So diaphragm, medial arcuate ligament, lateral arcuate ligament. Now here we are going to have impressions of three muscles. They are going to be psoas major, quadratus lumborum, and the transversus abdominis. From medial to lateral, coming again, they are psoas major, quadratus lumborum, and transversus abdominis. Along with these, we are going to have impression of a few nerves and vessels. Just below the lateral arcuate ligament, the subcostal nerves and vessels will pass laterally. Then between the psoas major and the quadratus lumborum, above there will be the impression of iliohypogastric nerve, and below there will be the impression of ilioinguinal nerve. So these are the relations of the posterior surface of the kidney. Now coming to the capsule. The kidney basically has two capsules, a true capsule and a false capsule. So the true capsule lies inside and is derived from the fibrous tissue of the kidney itself. And the false capsule, which is present above, is derived from the renal fascia. The anterior layer of the false capsule is known as fascia of Told. The posterior layer is known as fascia of Zuckerkandl, and both these layers together is known as fascia of Gerota. So fascia of Gerota forms the false capsule of the kidney. So now coming to the blood supply of the kidney. So as we know, the kidney is basically supplied by the renal artery. So if we will see the flow chart of the blood supply, it will begin from the abdominal aorta. Through the abdominal aorta, it will enter as the renal artery. The renal artery will divide into segmental artery, then to lobar artery, then to interlobar artery, then coming the arcuate arteries. Then arcuate arteries are going to give the afferent arteriole, which will enter inside the Bowman's capsule as the glomeruli. Then from the Bowman capsule, it will come out as the efferent arteriole, which will be entering inside the peritubular venous plexus, which will drain into similar series of veins. From there to the interlobular vein, then to the arcuate vein, then to the interlobar vein, then the lobar vein, then the segmental vein, finally to the renal vein, which we can see here. And this renal vein is going to drain into the inferior vena cava. The nerve supply of the kidney is basically by the renal plexus, which is formed by the celiac plexus, and both sympathetic and parasympathetic supply are present. So finally we are going to discuss about the exposure of the kidney. Basically we know that during the surgery of kidney, it is exposed from the posterior abdominal wall. So when we are going to do the exposure of kidney, we are going to encounter certain structures in a particular order. They are firstly the skin, then there will be the superficial fascia, then there will be the posterior layer of the thoracolumbar fascia, which is attached to two muscles. They are the latissimus dorsi and the serratus posterior inferior. Finally, next we are going to encounter the erector spinae group of muscle between the posterior and the middle layer. Then we are going to encounter the middle layer of the thoracolumbar fascia. Then we are going to have the quadratus lumborum muscle. Then we are going to have the anterior layer of the thoracolumbar fascia. Then we will encounter the paranephric fat. Then we are going to encounter the posterior layer of renal fascia, which is also known as fascia of Zuckerkandl. Inside this, we are going to encounter the perinephric fat, and finally we will reach the renal capsule, after piercing which we will enter inside the stroma of the kidney. So this was the general anatomy.